Hey everyone, what's up? We are back with another motivated video. Went from Boonville, Indiana, now we are out in Philpott, Kentucky. This is a friend of the family. This is my parents' good friends. He has a really cool collection of cars. I'm excited about this one. I think you guys will like this one. All right, everybody, like I said, we are in Philpott, Kentucky with Marvin. Marvin, if you don't mind, just a brief introduction, who you are, all that good stuff.
Well, I'm Marvin. I'm a retired building contractor. We have lived in this area pretty well all of our lives. In fact, right across the road has been in our family since before the Civil War. So this is one of my cars here. It's a 1933 Dodge. Bought it in 1990. Started driving it in 2000. And we've been all over the West with it. It's a fun car to drive. It's got a 350 two-port engine in it.
Or so.
We had 175 miles on it. Farthest we've been was to Hartford, Kentucky, and we left for Denver, Colorado in it. And we did make it back. We had 3,400 miles on it when we got back to Owensboro. And we didn't have to be towed in, so we figured that was a good trip. My wife wanted to drive, so I was over there taking a little nap, and I looked over and she was running 90 miles an hour in it. She just wanted to get home.
Running strong. So what are we working with here as far as engine?
This is a 350 two-port engine. It's a new block. It's got power steering, it's air conditioning, four-wheel disc brakes. It's a nice running little car.
This has digital.
It's got Dakota digital gauges in it. We had sent the original bezel off and had them put the gauges in it, so it looks the original dash. It's got a filled roof.
That's got a very roomy back seat. Well, it looks like there's a ton of room back there.
There's a ton of room. In its day, it was a very expensive car for a Dodge. And they even pulled down curtains and footrests and everything in the back. And all that. I was the second owner of the car.
So are you a avid Frog Follies guy, or?
Well, I was a member of Frog Follies or Evil Iron for 32 years. But fortunately or unfortunately, my granddaughter was born on August the 25th. So she's in Oklahoma, so I had to choose between my granddaughter being her birthday or being a member of Frog Follies Evil Iron. So that was an easy choice.
Family first.
Family first.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can hear you fire this thing up.
Another one of my cars in my collection. It's a 57 T-Bird. Bought out of Savannah, Georgia. I've had this probably about 4 years, and I've done some modifications on it. I put a narrowed rear end in it, took the fender skirts off and put different wheels in it, put disc brakes in the front. The guy that had it, I guess he never must have put the top down because the top wouldn't go down. I had to modify the top to get it down.
Which it's down now.
Probably and I do have the other top for it. we made a little bit of changes inside. They had a steering wheel that actually touched the seat. So, and one of the bad things that I thought about these cars was the automatics will start. They don't start except in neutral. They won't start in park. So changed that all out and fixed that where it would start like it's supposed to a normal car in park. We changed out the master cylinder. Of course, it just had a single master cylinder on it, and put a new radiator in it. But the main thing I did was put, it would always start, but it would make you think it wasn't going to. It's just typical Ford. So I put the Holley fuel injection on it, and that cured the problem along with a little low car linkage. And everything seems to work fine. Changed over to the alternator from the generator.
Do you have a weigh-in on Ford found on road dead or first on race day? Which one do you lean to?
That's a tough one.
I know you got a lot of Chevy Corvettes in there, so...
somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between.
This is a 66 427 4-speed Corvette, all original. It does have the knockoff wheels on it, which were an option back in '66. They are not original to the car. But I purchased it in Florida last year. They have a Cars and Coffee for us old guys down there on Wednesday mornings, and there was literally an old guy sitting in the car. He said he couldn't get out. He said, I'm 82 years old, I've had 2 strokes, I can't get in and out, make me an offer. So I made him an offer and wound up driving it home. And I was talking to him and I said, I think I'll just drive this thing home. It drives it drives like a dream. He said, you can't do that. And I said, what do you mean I can't do that? He said, you might get it wet. But he had had the car since 1980. And every time he changed the lug nut or aired the tire up, he got a receipt, and I've got documentation on everything that he actually did to the car. It's an original 66 427. About the only thing we've done to it is put a helper fan on the front to help it cool, because they do tend to run hot. It's a neat driving little car, and it sits on the road just fast as you want to drive it.
We kind of talked off camera a little bit. You try to kind of take turns driving them. You drive all your cars.
I drive all of them. There's usually, I'll drive one of them a week. Next week I'll drive another one. And my cars are nice cars, but they're drivers. They're fun cars. And if I can't drive it, I don't want it. For interior, I put that little this in here so I can. Diet Coke's a very important part of my diet.
Diet Coke, you gotta have your Diet Coke, okay.
So I put that in there, but other than that, it's all stock.
got a really nice little rumble to it.
I've had it probably about 10 years. Did a frame off restoration on it. Every nut, bolt, screw, every piece that would come off came off. Put it on the rotisserie. Painted underneath just like it is on top. We put a steroid front end, a monolith rear end, spring in the back, offset trailing arms where it could run some wider tires. This is probably one of my favorite, it probably is my favorite car. It's got an LS3 in it for power. It's got 430 at the rear wheels.
430?
It's dynoed at 430 at the rear wheels.
And do you know how much it weighs?
Probably about 3,200 pounds, somewhere between 3,000 and 3,200 pounds. But, this was the first Corvette that I attempted to restore or bring back to life. I chased it for about 25 years, and the guy that had it, he thought it was worth a whole lot more than I thought it was worth.
Of course.
And finally he met me one day and said, Marvin, said, I'm 75 years old, I realize I'm not going to finish that car, and if we can come to an agreement, you can have it. So we did come to agreement. I went and got my trailer right then and went and got it before he changed his mind.
So 25 years chasing this one particular car. That's you got some good stories behind your cars too, which makes it even better.
Got custom interior in it. Got the L460E transmission, and shift work makes the shifter where it puts the shifter right back in the original position to make it look like it's factory. The LS3s or the LS engines are a lot easier to find parts for.
Yes.
And they make a good, solid, powerful engine.
It looks good in there too, I think.
It fits. It's tight, but it fits.
So, from the time you bought it in the shape that it was in and to completion, about how long did it take to completely restore it?
5 years.
5 years. Well, you wanna fire this one up as well, and we are inside. This one was up on the lift and we just dropped it down. This was your first car, Marvin?
My first street rod. I bought it in December of 1970. It took me about 5 years to get it to where I could actually drive it. It's pretty well original to what it was back then. Back then there was no part, the internet, they hadn't invented the internet, I guess. I won't mention any names of who invented it, but they didn't have that to find parts for. So it was go to the scrap yard or make them or whatever. It's got a Mustang 2 front end under it, and actually I cut it out of a Mustang, widened it, notched my frame and welded it back in, and it really works just as good as the one I bought that is in the other car.
So what are we looking at here?
This is a 1933 Dodge sedan delivery. Now the sedan delivery just got one door in the back. They made some that had two doors in the back, but this one only had one door. I bought it in Fordsville, Kentucky, and when I bought it, it was sitting out in the farmer's yard. It had chickens in it. It's dirty inside, but it's
but it doesn't have chickens anymore in there.
Chickens.
No chickens.
No chickens. It's got 350 with a 400 turbo, and it will got a 273, I think 273 rear end, and it will cruise with the best of them.
Yeah.
But it's
Now, how many road trips has this one been on?
This one has been all over the place. It don't. It's a little dirty right now because it hasn't been used much. But we've been all up through Minnesota and all up through there with it. Anywhere that we wanted to go. Back when Evil Iron started, they believed in going, and we went somewhere every weekend.
And then unfortunately, you had to end up meeting Jerry, you know, and now you're stuck with him.
We're stuck with him.
Yeah.
Jerry, I don't want this on camera, but Jerry is a good guy.
All right, we'll edit that part out.
He's a good friend.
Yeah, he is a good guy. Surprise, surprise, it's another vet. So explain to us kind of what's going on with this one.
This is 66 coupe. I bought it really a piece of junk out of New Jersey, and worked on it all one winter took it and had it bead blasted, got all media blasted, got it all cleaned up, smoothed all the firewall out, took everything off underneath that didn't need to be there, smoothed it out. It was on the rotisserie for way too long. But anyway, finally got all that done. It's got a custom chassis under it, C4 suspension. It's got a Gen 5 LT1, which is a 2014 Chevy engine and an L460E transmission. I went back with that because I knew it would work in the tunnel. I did have a mono spring on when I got it back from the chassis shop, and I didn't like that, so I had a guy here in Owensboro, Derek Bivens, put coilovers on the front, got it down to where I wanted. I didn't. It was set way too high.
Do you know, what coilovers did you go with?
They're AFCO.
AFCO.
Uh-huh.
So how much time have you got in it so far to get it to the current state?
Way too much.
Way too much.
Yeah, way too much. But it's getting there. I've got the interior. I've got a guy working on the interior. We got air conditioner unit in this week, and the condenser and stuff in. Hopefully another month or so the interior will be ready to put in. By that time, hopefully it'll be wired and ready to, not ready to go, but ready to at least fire up.
So maybe a little light at the end of the tunnel?
It's dim.
It's dim?
It's on.
All right, all right.
So you just can't, until somebody builds a car, you can't imagine or can't believe how much time it actually takes. And nothing, everything has got to be cut to fit. There's nothing, it's not like restoring a car. When you restore a car, you buy the parts, you put it on. All both holes line up and everything fits. When you're building a car, as anybody can tell you, it's completely different. Nothing fits.
For those of you that are watching that might not know what Evansville Iron is, Evansville Iron's the local street rod club that's responsible for putting on the Frog Follies every year.
That's correct.
And they raise a lot of good money for, is there any specific charity or?
They do, the rehab center is a big charity in Evansville. They do the Wendell Foster Center in Owensboro. People don't realize just what that club has done for the community. That club has raised over $1 million and given it to the rehab center. But they're just a good bunch of guys and with big hearts.
Big hearts, yeah. Like I said, he knows Jerry. Jerry's my stepdad, and Jerry's a part of Evansville Iron as well. And I mean, if nobody's been out to the Frog Follies, which I would assume most people watching this channel probably have, I would say you have to go out there and see it. It's just amazing how many cars come out to it. How many, is it like 4,000 or over 4,000?
For the 25th, we had almost 5,000.
Almost 5,000.
Registered there.
And that's all over the country. You got people come outside the country.
California, we actually had some from Australia, and it's a pre-48 rod run. In other words, I couldn't take these Corvettes. I'd have to drive the street, one of the street rods. It's pre-48 only.
That's all right, guys. I think that wraps it up for Marvin's collection. I was excited to come over here for this one. I knew he had quite a few cars. As always, reach out. Let's see what you got out there. Get it on the channel. Till next time.